remember it was back in 2013, 2014. I was at my wit's end with the healthcare industry, the medical business, you know. I had been diagnosed with peripheral polyneuropathy in 2006. I went to visit a hand surgeon because I thought I had carpal tunnel, and she sent me to a neurologist who did a nerve conduction test and told me that I had severe deficits on my left side and my right side of my hands. Basically, the signals from the shocks were being timed to see how long it would take from the furthest point of the peripheral nervous system to tag up with the brain and send back a reaction. That's what a nerve conduction test does, to tell you what the condition of your peripheral nerves are without doing what they call a punch biopsy, which does further damage to your short fiber nerves, your sensory nerves. And that will actually, under a microscope, show you the degradation of the cellular wall on the sensory nerve. Well, the nerve conduction test gives you more of a feeling on the long fiber nerve, which is what brings the signals. So anyways, cutting to the chase, I still had surgery for carpal tunnel, but I was also put on gabapentin to try and knock down the nerve pain that I was feeling, which is what sent me to the hand surgeon to begin with. My onset was a fall on a stairwell, breaking my fall with my hands, triggering the pain from the neuropathy, which apparently had laid dormant in me since I had been heavily fluxed by Cipro in the late 90s and mid 90s. Here's the thing. You see me, I'm listed as Charlie Buttles. Charlie Buttles is Bob Diamond, who acted as a moderator in another support group for neuropathy, where absolutely nothing positive was going on. I was fed up with the treatment. By the time 2013 rolled around, 2014, I began my research to find out how I could recover, if not permanently, at least sufficiently, from neuropathy. And I began to read. Now, before I started this, the impetus was severe constipation and unsuccessfully having to solve that as recommended and prescribed by pain management, to use a product called Relistor, which was an injectable that they give to drug addicts, and supposedly you're supposed to get relief within 10 minutes of stabbing yourself in the thigh and injecting. It didn't work. My first go at it, I couldn't go. I thought, it's Saturday, I haven't moved my bowels in 8 days. I'm not going out like Elvis Presley, and I'm not calling the doctor. So I got onto Google Scholar and I said, move my bowels naturally. Took me 15 minutes to buy 3 coconuts, consume them, and you will move your bowels. 15 minutes. Meanwhile, when complaining to the doctor, who was the prescriber for me of 75 milligrams of oxycodone daily and 80 milligrams of extended release OxyContin daily, he had taken me through magnesium citrate to try and move my impaction, to a pill called Movantik to try and move my impaction, to that injectable. Nothing worked. Why didn't he know? Why didn't he suggest that there was a natural way to do it beyond what we would all think of, drink prune juice, which, by the way, didn't work. But coconuts, $3 later, living in Miami, coconuts are only $1 a pop. $3 later, and by the end of the week, I was crapping like a champ. I'm sure there are a number of you watching this who can identify with constipation. I solved it. My neurologist had me on 3,200 milligrams of gabapentin, which is a seizure medication that the FDA said this is for people who have seizure disorders, and it's going to retard the reproduction of synapses in your brain. And the idea is it's going to cause you to think you don't hurt so much as you actually are. The idea with the proper application of this drug is that you will, by retarding the recreation of brain synapses, forget really about having seizures and limit them. And it does work for that. But what are the side effects? Swiss cheese brain, memory loss, memory of autonomic functions of the body, and the absence of those. Basically, it's a death sentence long term. But they have us because we didn't have the proper medical advice, because it isn't all that expensive, and a doctor typically can't write a prescription for it, but he can get you to quiet down by feeding you these drugs, the gabapentin, the Lyrica, and all of the other names that they're known as, to try and make you forget that it hurts. Well, why don't we fix the problem to begin with instead of making you a drug addict who eventually becomes a bump on a log and forgets what he's about to say, short-term, long-term memory, and autonomic memory. Those are the things that come naturally to the human body. Remembering how to swallow, remembering how to breathe, having proper physiological function. It's a wasteland. As I'm driving to Boca Raton and occasionally making eye contact, this is a safe thing for me. But I wanted to get this off my chest because after figuring out how to move my bowels, I said, what aren't the neurologists telling us about repairing our nerves? If we stop taking their prescribed drugs to hide the symptoms, if we stop doing that, they lose a customer. They lose revenue. The oath that they took the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm. It's actually the Hippocratic Oath. It's a business for many doctors. Not all, but many. So I said to myself, as I mentioned before, pardon the little hole of the Swiss cheese in my brain, what aren't they telling us about remodeling peripheral nerves? These are the damaged parts of the body that are causing the pain and discomfort, that they're telling us we can't fix it. Well, we can't fix it permanently, but we can correct their condition and reduce the symptoms of the neuropathy, the pain, the discomfort. Instead of it being a 10 plus off the charts, it can be a 1, 2, or a 3. When I've mentioned it in the past, I liken it to marriage. A little bit of discomfort every once in a while. Who can't deal with it? Many of us are able to deal with it because we get used to it. It's a 1, 2, or a 3. But it's not off the charts. That's when we get pushed into separation and divorce. So I digress. Back over. I get on to Google Scholar and I put in remodeling peripheral nerves. The answer to that came back as about 50 years worth of research about what vitamin and what mineral is not sufficient in the human body from ingestion of food, that we need to supplement to increase the body's natural ability to heal. It took me about 3 months to figure out what it was that I could supplement, minus 1 or 2 things, which I figured out later, in order to roll back the symptoms of neuropathy, to get off of the pain medication, to get off of the seizure medication, and live a better, healthier life. Within 3 months of testing on myself and at a visit in August of 14, I want to say, or August of 15. It's August of 15. My neurologist told me that I rolled my symptoms back by 30% after 90 days. And feeling in my legs was returning. The deep pain that was keeping me awake at night went away. The burning was gone. Within 6 months and another doctor visit, my symptoms were rolled back by 75%, according to the neurologist. I'm like, okay, this is a plan. I'm detoxing, I'm off of all of these medications, and I'm just taking these vitamins and minerals. It took 28 capsules, caplets, tablets, and gel caps every day, and some liquid to accomplish this recovery. I decided in September of 15 to share this with the world, and I started this Facebook support group, about 100 members, who followed me over from this other group I was moderating. Today we're nearing 14,000 members, and I've also endured a crap load of haters in the last 9-10 years, one of which in 2021 or 2022, I forget now, hacked my Facebook, put some really disgusting things on there, which caused Facebook to kick me off of the platform. Seeing that coming, I asked our moderators to try and protect as much of the material I had put in over the years 7 or 8 years so that the group could continue. Needless to say, we were able to preserve about 75% of it, including 200 to 250 lectures from lives. At the time that the pandemic came about, I engaged with a generic pharmaceutical manufacturer and came up with a plan to reduce it to 12 capsules a day and some liquid. Today, there's no liquid. It's inside of a gel cap. And it is 10 capsules per day to accomplish this issue of recovering the condition of our peripheral nerves that were damaged by everything from chemotherapy to ciprofluoroquinolones to type 2 diabetes, you name it. If it's peripheral neuropathy, it can be lessened. The symptoms can be lessened. It can't be permanently eradicated because the damage to our DNA has precluded it. So it takes an intense amount of nutritional supplementation continuously to drop our discomfort levels to a tolerable level. If we stop doing that supplementation, the symptoms do return. I've tested that out on myself. Members of the group have tested that out. So I say all this to say, those of you who are just members of this group and not engaged in learning the realities of your condition and how to properly care for it are wasting their time. Just because you collect a group doesn't mean osmosis is going to kick in and you're going to feel better. It also means that we as admins and moderators of this group are not interested in publishing your recommendations that fall short of what's actually real. We are about solutions to peripheral neuropathy, pain, and discomfort. And we have found there is one solution. We call it the protocol. You can package it up yourself. You can private label it yourself. You can buy all the individual elements of it and take it. The formula has been shared since day one freely. But I decided I was going to make it easy to accomplish. So there you have it. I promise in 2025 we're going to do more lives. I can tell you that I am completely drug-free as it relates to neuropathy. I can tell you that other conditions that I have been helped immensely and some eliminated by the actuality of the body's natural ability to heal being enhanced, being supported by the proper amount of nutrition coming from this formula. Accelerated healing is what goes on for those people who are using this product. Learn about it, read about it. If you have questions about it, publish them in the group. If you have questions about it that you want to keep private, go over to the website, theprotocolworks.com, and at the bottom of every page is a link that we call a contact form to putting your contact information in And you can send an email directly to me and or my assistant JC or the moderators and get answers to your questions. These are vitamins and minerals. They are the building blocks of the human body, and there is nothing wrong with taking them. There isn't a doctor, a qualified doctor, who hasn't said there's nothing here that can harm you. It can only help you. Find out for yourself. Don't waste your time. Prepare for a new future. Live again. Get your life back. Want to go back to work? Do it. Want to visit the grandkids or the cousins? Do it. Want to walk? Do it. Want to sleep through the night? Do it. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in 2025. Have a healthy and a happy Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, New Year's, etc., etc., etc. See you soon.